There's no point in us going into something unless we can really shake up an industry, make a major difference, unless it's going to enhance the Virgin brand. If there's any danger of it damaging the brand in any way, even if it's going to make us a lot of money, cigarette companies or something like that, we wouldn't do it. And because life's short, we want to enjoy the experience. So, I mean, we're not, I've never, very rarely have I actually sat down and thought, can we make a lot of money by going into this industry? Almost all our new ventures have come about from, if you go right back to the beginning, Vietnam War, let's edit a magazine to try to have young people campaigning to stop the war, and let's give young people a voice. The actual business aspect of it, the paying the bills, we had to sort that one out later and hopefully sell enough magazines and learn about the printing and the paper manufacturing, but that wasn't our principal interest. And almost every venture we've gone into, we've seen a gap in the market. I mean, you might get frustrated flying on other people's airlines. Screw it, let's do it. We'll just start. We'll start an airline, and then we try to make sure we can get the bills paid. And actually, I think it's the better way of doing it. If you think, how can I make lots of money? Let's bring the accountants in. We'll work out some business plans. I mean, it's just the wrong way around. I mean, you get one set of accountants will say, yes, you can make lots of money. Another set of accountants with exactly the same input will say, no, you're going to lose lots of money. It's got to be, from your heart, and do something which, you're passionate about, which is going to be your hobby, and then it's likely to be successful.
Do everything you can to survive and not to give up. As long as you tried everything you can, then if you fail, you'll sleep okay, and you'll pick yourself up, and you'll learn. When things are better, you'll learn from your mistakes and you'll start again. If on the other hand you give up, you give up too readily, you'll forever kick yourself. And I wish you all the best of your best in your quest, because I'm afraid there's going to be a lot of people who will fail. But I think the other important thing is just not to take failure too seriously. I mean, it's something that happens to something like 80% of all small business people fail. Either go into Chapter 11 or actually go bankrupt, and that's a lot of people. And some people take that really badly, and they should realise that it's the important thing just to learn from it and come back and start again. And an awful lot of really big multi-millionaires and billionaires who've been through 2 or 3 bankrupt companies in their lives, and have learned from them and have come back the stronger. It's what limited companies were designed for by governments. It was to say to people, try things, and if you fail, it shouldn't affect you personally. People know the risk they're having in dealing with you, and don't be embarrassed about your failure. As long as you've tried everything you can to avoid it, don't take it too personally.
Well, I also think fun should come into marketing. There was an occasion where British Airways decided to sponsor a giant wheel opposite the House of Commons in London, England, and this giant wheel was lying flat on the ground, and they got all the press together one morning where they were going to lift the wheel up, and I got a call at about 7 in the morning saying that BA had technical problems and they couldn't get the wheel up, and all the press, the world's press, were there waiting. We had an airship company, so I rang up the airship company and we scrambled an airship, and the airship went right over the wheel, and it had a massive big banner across it which simply said, BA can't get it up. And anyway, we got more coverage around the world for that than I think any other one single thing we'd done. On marketing generally, I think that the cheapest form of marketing is not full-page adverts in the press, it's free advertising. So if you're up against a big corporation, you do need to use yourself to try to get free advertising, and try to do it in fun ways like that. So you stand out from the crowd. Try to make sure you end up doing something that hits the front page of the newspapers rather than the back page. Obviously we've gone to extreme lengths to try to put Virgin on the map. Whether it's trying to be the first to cross the Atlantic in a hot air balloon, or the Pacific in a hot air balloon, or but it did help, I think, create the Virgin brand, make it a fun brand, and a brand that people could identify with.
There's a very thin dividing line between survival and not surviving. And most people who start in business end up the wrong side of that dividing line, because the bigger businesses out there will try to crush small upstarts. We had, we were no different from anybody else when we set up our airline. Excuse me, I've got a slight cough. British Airways, set up a unit behind closed doors, and that unit was set up to crush Virgin Atlantic. They had people illegally accessing our computer information. They then had a team of people ringing up our passengers, pretending to be from Virgin Atlantic, suggesting that that Virgin Atlantic was cancelled that day, and maybe at British Airways we could maybe move you over to British Airways. They had people going through my rubbish bins. They had people. Anyway, the lengths they went were extraordinary. Any small business going up against bigger businesses are likely to come up with ferocious competition. So, to beat a big business, you have just got to use the strengths of being small. Generally speaking, if you work for a big corporation, it's quite impersonal, and quite often the staff are not looked after well, and quite often the staff actually don't like going to work because they're not treated well. In a smaller company, you can make sure that your staff are looked after well. You can make sure your staff are proud of what they're doing. You can make sure that that they believe in what they're doing, and they work long hours to try to make the company a success. As a small company, you can be more nimble. You can move more quickly. With Virgin Atlantic, for instance, if we want to change all our seats in our plane to better seats, we can do so in maybe 9 months. For British Airways, it will take them 7 years. By being more nimble, one can move quicker. One can be more innovative and innovate more. So it is possible for small companies. You can keep your overheads lower, so you can actually undercut the bigger guy. And most likely, the bigger guys had years of building up overheads that you as a small company haven't yet got, and hopefully never will have. So it is possible for smaller companies to beat bigger companies, but you have to be quick of foot and, as you say, never take no for an answer.
One of the most important sort of phrases in my life is protecting the downside, and it should be one of the most important phrases in any business person's life. So okay, we made a big bold move from going from music company into airline business, but I set myself a condition that I could hand that plane back at the end of the first 12 months if people didn't like our business. And so one of the most important negotiations with Boeing was, we have the right to give you that plane back after 12 months. And that meant that I knew that, I could put my toe in the water, I could see whether people liked the airline, but if it didn't work out, it wasn't going to bring everything else crashing down. I'd be able to look my record company bosses in the eye and we'll still be friends because they'd still have jobs. So protecting the downside is critical. And so we'll make bold moves, but we'll also make sure we've got ways out if things go.
Define what success is. To me, I've spent a lifetime creating things that hopefully I think can make a difference to other people's lives. Genuinely have never set about to sort of think of myself as a businessman. If I lost it all, I'm sure I'd want to carry on creating. Most of my time is now spent creating not-for-profit ventures like the Elders or the Carbon War Room or Centre for Disease Control or trying to protect species, and that's where I get my main satisfaction from. And somehow, even if I didn't have any money, I would do my best to continue to do that.
Life is short, life should be fun, and it should be fun it should be, if the chairman of the company's having fun, if you go to a party and if I let my hair down and I'm the first to be thrown in the swimming pool and I'm not just standing in the corner of the room sipping sherry or something, then everybody will have a laugh and everybody will have fun. If you're chairman of the company, be the first to dance on the table. Just get everybody else up dancing on the table. Make sure the party's a laugh. So, so play hard and work hard, and follow certain principles in life. Love people. Make sure you make a positive difference in this world while you're on it.
I love learning. I've never actually thought I was, starting a company as such. I just saw situations as I travelled in life where I felt I could improve on the way things were being done by other people. So, one of my favourite phrases is "screw it, let's do it," and I've used that phrase a lot of times. And we just love going in and trying to shake up industries and doing it better than it's been done before.
I'm dyslexic, and therefore I think I've been very good at keeping things simple because as a dyslexic I need things to be simple for myself, and therefore Virgin, I think, when we launch a financial service company or a bank, we do not use jargon. Everything's very clear cut, very simple, and I think people have an affinity to the Virgin brand because we don't talk above them or talk down to them.